Hello, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Kathleen Joyce, ERC's Vice President for Marketing, and presenting with me today will be Courtney Hibbard, Vice President of Product and Account Management. We're delighted you can join us for our discussion on standalone products or the integrated ATS. We'll be talking about how you can create value by finding the best fit for your clients and prospects when recommending some of the modules that are available through the HR solution portfolio from ERC Data Plus. All right then, let's talk about solutions. Many of you know ERC as a provider of the complete applicant tracking solution, which we've integrated with your background screening and with other HR services over the years. It's always been our goal to help you to add value when you're reaching out to your clients and to prospects as well. Value that is tied to your current product offering and value that gets you closer to the HR teams in the companies that you're reaching out to. We are all in the HR space, and together we offer a wider range of solutions. This can enhance the view that your clients and prospects may have of you as a solution provider that goes beyond your core product. The integrated solution from ERC covers a lot of steps in the complete talent acquisition process. Everything from creating custom career sites that are specific to a company's culture, with its graphics, its language, perhaps a message from its executive team. We have integration with thousands of job boards, both general, such as Monster or Career Builder, and industry specific. HR administrators take advantage of the calendar and scheduling tools that we provide so that they can juggle the interviewing process of thousands of candidates on an annual basis. We have job-specific pre-screening questions so that they're focused only on candidates that meet their minimum requirements. Later on in the process, they can put those candidates through a round of assessments to make sure that they're the right fit within a given job or a given company. We have Form I-9 management and E-Verify integration, which I'll be talking a little bit more about in a few moments. We have integration with payroll, HRIS, and other systems that are essential to the smooth operations of a human resources department. And very important to many of you who are on the call today, we have bilateral integration with background screening, which is a factor in our ATS that many of our competitors just don't offer. As powerful as the Selectech ATS is, we recognize that there may be clients or prospects who just aren't ready yet to consider a full ATS. They may be locked into a contract with another provider, or they may not yet recognize the need for a full ATS. These are situations where you can actually strengthen your own position with that client by bringing into discussions with them some of the standalone products that are available from ERC. Because in addition to a very powerful end-to-end talent acquisition platform, ERC also provides a rich menu of modular solutions that are specific to HR challenges. These modules are part of the integrated ATS, but they can also work as standalone components. It all comes down to you uncovering the most pressing needs that your clients are facing and then leveraging those needs to build their perception of your company. Do they see you as always offering value? Are you ready to hear about their challenges? Can you offer them sound advice and solutions? Is yours a consultative role? The more times your clients and prospects come back to you with overall HR questions, the more favorably they'll see your core products as well. So which ATS modules can work as standalones? That's the focus of our discussion today, and we'll be taking a closer look at Predictor Assessments, the Selectech Form I-9 Management module with E-Verify, plus our newest product, automated reference checks, as well as products that we've had for a while but that you may not have heard much about, and those are our orientation and our exit survey tools. As we discuss each of these tools, we want to make sure that we're letting you know what the value can be to both your clients and your prospects from each of these modules. Okay, the first product that we're going to talk about in more depth is Predictor Assessments. Now, not all companies use assessments, but those that do tell us that they rely upon them. As we begin to talk about the assessment module, I want to make sure that we don't confuse it with the pre-screening questions that you saw earlier. While both of those modules are delivered through the ATS, pre-screening questions, which are automated and delivered online, tend to be administered much earlier in the hiring or the screening process. They are mechanical questions that make sure that someone may have the appropriate certifications or other characteristics for a job. Predictor assessments are a more sophisticated tool that really takes a closer look at the behavioral attributes of a given candidate. And as I mentioned earlier, companies have come to rely upon them to have a higher level of confidence that they're making the right hiring choices. While both pre-screening questions and assessments are delivered within the ATS, ERC does have several clients that use predictor assessments as a standalone. What are the specific attributes that a candidate may need to be successful in a given job family? Let's look at some sample batteries and scales. A battery is the actual assessment test that a candidate may take. The scales are the aspects or the psychological attributes that the employer wants to test for. For a customer service job, for example, an employer may need to know if their job finalists have a helping disposition, if they can handle the stress of being on the phone day in and day out with angry customers, if they'll be reliable, if they'll be truthful and candid, and so on. This doesn't measure whether they have gotten their high school education or their college education, but it does tell us whether they have the psychological makeup to handle a job in the customer service field. Taking a look at the healthcare excellence battery, scales in this set of tests might include attention to detail. What are their attitudes towards substance abuse? What's the candidate's trustworthiness? Again, are they a team player? Can they handle the stress of being in a healthcare environment? Do they have high degrees of compassion? Obviously important in healthcare. This doesn't measure whether they've got a certification in nursing, but it will tell the employer if they have the right mindset to be effective in the hospital setting. Assessments are also used to measure skills and knowledge, abilities and characteristics of personality that are essential for the confidence level of the employer before they make a hiring decision. In a battery for, let's say, a sales role, the employer might want to test for high degrees of self-confidence, or whether the individual is very achievement-driven. Again, can they handle the stress of being in a sales role where they have demands upon them for hitting certain incremental goals? Assessments can dramatically reduce the likelihood of making bad hires, but they have to be selected correctly. And unlike pre-screening questions, assessments can predict the candidate's likelihood for success based on certain behaviors and competencies that have been tested and validated over time by industrial psychologists. In addition to helping HR have a higher degree of confidence that they understand a given candidate, the assessment test also helps HR to measure more equitably so that they are testing all candidates along the same lines and they're prioritizing those who have the best likelihood of success. At ERC, we would work with your clients to help them determine which specific scales and batteries are most relevant to their hiring needs. They get real-time scoring that includes a comprehensive report on each of the candidates that have taken the tests, And they also get suggested follow-up questions that can be very helpful at opening up discussion during the interview process. Okay, on to one of our newest applications. As I mentioned earlier, Selectech's Reference 360 tool was introduced just this past year in October of 2011. It gives your clients the ability to automate the reference check process. Reference checks can be one of the most time-consuming chores for HR. They've also been notoriously tricky to capture in a fair and equitable way when phone calls were the only option in the past. Now, with automated reference checking through Selectech Reference 360, the whole process is much easier for HR administrators. An HR administrator starts by selecting from a menu of role-specific or general questions, and then once that survey script is chosen, she sends a survey link to the job finalist via an email message. That email message includes instructions that the finalist then forwards over to the references that he or she will be providing. Here are some of the sample questions that can be asked. You can see how simple the interface is. It's just a question of the reference provider toggling and clicking through these radio buttons. These question menus, by the way, are similar to the scales and batteries that you saw earlier when we were looking at assessments. And just as with assessments, the menus for the reference check questions can be industry specific. As with all Selectech products, the reports that come out are quick and simple, easy for a supervisor to use. This is a sample of some of the kind of results that a hiring manager at a client company might get that gather on a single page the opinions and the attitudes that a number of different reference providers might have about a given candidate. Confirming past employment and performance and salary levels is essential, but the typical process of phoning a candidate's prior colleagues has been a notorious burden for HR administrators. Now, with Selectech Reference 360, your clients can make better decisions, become much more efficient, and cut out telephone tag, or for that matter, email tag. Now they have a simple automated solution for reference checking. Next, we're going to talk about some survey tools that are relevant a little further along in the employment process. Those would be our first word orientation surveys and the last word exit survey module. In just 7 minutes on average, a new hire can respond to a typical first word script. This module is automated through the applicant tracking system, and it also works as a standalone. Here you'll see some samples of the questions that might be included in a first word survey. Surveys that are scripted along these lines allow employers to measure the training experience, measure the orientation experience, measure the recruiting process, and measure the experience that the new hire has been having in the first 30, 60, 90 days with their manager and their coworkers. At the other end of the continuum are the last word surveys. These allow management to make course corrections over time. Now, while smart companies may conduct orientation surveys like First Word to course correct their new hires, several companies have wised up and they look for patterns when turnover does occur. This way they can get data through an exit survey tool such as LastWord, and they can do course correction that may help them to reduce the cost of turnover that's outside the norm. Employment analysts have been saying for months that as the economy recovers, they anticipate a very high level of turnover among folks who have been riding out the recession in jobs where they're not fully satisfied. And what we've learned is that your clients can actually find investment in first word and last word surveys as a very cost-effective alternative to having to deal with the very high cost among productivity and in rehiring into those positions where folks have left a company. Better to know why folks may be either contemplating or actually leaving your company than to operate with misinformation. Now we get to one of the products that answers some of the hottest HR topics in 2012, Form I-9 management. For those of you who are part of our background screening referral partner program, this is going to be of special interest because it ties into the concerns that you discuss with clients every single business day. As some of you may know, every new hire must now complete an employment eligibility verification form. This form confirms identity and the eligibility to work in the United States. Every employer in the U.S. must now view the identity and eligibility documents and certify the Form I-9. Form I-9 is now required with every new hire in the U.S., and E-Verify has become mandated in more states. You can check out this map that was drawn off the internet just last week. In the next few months, we anticipate that there will be even more states requiring E-Verify. Now, the Department of Homeland Security and the Social Security Administration created E-Verify as an online system through which employers can check the employment eligibility of new hires electronically. The Selectech verification module is a complete document collection, retention, and management system. While it can be a standalone, the Selectech Form I-9 management tool is also seamlessly integrated with our applicant tracking platform. It's also seamlessly integrated with E-Verify. Now, this is crucial for most employers because there are specific criteria for how employers have to process and store the I-9 documents. Employers are subject to some really harsh penalties that can add up to thousands of dollars per employee for non-compliance with both Form I-9 and E-Verify. When you're in front of clients and prospects, this is a story you can tell because there is real value, a tremendous ROI that you can offer to clients when you're speaking with either your HR contact or the compliance person within a given company. Selectech I-9 Manager, as I said, can be a standalone product. It stores, it tracks, it reports I-9 compliance electronically to the government. So in the event that one of your clients does happen to become audited, they will have all of their documents immediately available to them electronically through the system. This screen gives you a flavor of how easy it is for HR administration to add a new employee to the I-9 system. You'll notice the progress meter in the upper right, and our programmers have worked really hard to make this interface simple and intuitive. They're capturing necessary information without a lot of clutter. You'll also notice, by the way, that there's a video help for HR that walks them through the process with both audio and video support. From the new hire's perspective, we had the same goal: keep it easy and simple. The new hire can complete Part 1 of Form I-9 before the day they start, or on that first day on the job, they can complete Sections 1 and 2 in the presence of HR. HR itself will no longer have to maintain a paper trail, copies of Social Security cards or copies of passports, for example, as long as they capture them in this electronic database. Here, for example, you'll see how the digital form allows for a very clean data entry, and the employee can release the information with a valid mouse-generated signature that is recognized and even preferred by Homeland Security. This will look familiar, by the way, to those of you who have seen our digital background screening release form. Back to the HR administrator's view. HR will no longer have to shuffle through manila folders. Instead, through the Selectech Form I-9 management system, they'll collect and store both Section 1 and Section 2, even Section 3 of Form I-9 online. For E-Verify, this is a one-click, free of charge integration. In this slide, you see how HR gets reminders to make sure that new hires complete Section 2. This way they know where each employee is in the process. The Selectech Form I-9 system will also remind HR when a current employee may have documentation that is due to expire. This is especially useful over time, as documents like visas might be up for renewal and re-verification. The system will provide management with advance notification on a 30, 60, 90-day notice schedule, and that way HR can work it through with their employees so that documents are up to date as that deadline approaches. Well, we've covered a lot of products today. Whether you handle these as standalone modules or as components in an integrated ATS, they do all have a shared value. Discussions that springboard from these ERC products can help you to demonstrate to your clients your engagement in their HR challenges. You show your commitment to them over and above background screening or payroll or other services that you may provide. These enhance your ability to demonstrate to clients and prospects that you are more than a service provider. It's not just about referral revenue, it's about offering more value and providing solutions to their problems. The advantage of referring these products, even if background screening is not the immediate need, is that you've created a relationship that can be built on so that you can continue to leverage your core product. And keep in mind that the sales team at ERC is there to back you up. If you have clients who may benefit from starting with a standalone solution, we can take that longer view. These are integrated modules, and we may have the opportunity over time to move that client into a complete applicant tracking system. But it is the best interests, the HR goals of each of your clients or prospects that will drive what ERC presents to them. As for the mechanics of making a referral, well, if you thought it was easy before, now it is even easier. Simply go to the home page of the ERC website at ercdataplus.com and click on the Contact Us tab. That's along the top at the right. You'll open a very simple form and provide us with some very basic information about you and your referred client or prospect. Your name, your email address, any specific message you want to give to us, and then the name of the company, the person, their phone number, and email address at the company that you're referring. Let me stop here just for a moment to make it clear that we will not contact a referred company without your permission. Typically, one of our team members will call you first and discuss the prospect's needs and how we can approach them. Your name and your services will always be brought into the discussion because, as your partner, we want to develop mutual success. We always want to promote the power of our strategic partnership coming together to deliver a shared solution. Well, that's a quick overview of how we can collaboratively open doors and provide solutions to your clients and prospects. You refer, we sell. Now, let's move on to some of the questions that you may have about the material that we covered today. At this point, I'd like to invite my colleague Courtney Hibbard to come on board and help me answer any of your questions. So you can start typing in your questions, and Courtney and I are happy to answer them.
Okay, I've got a couple of questions coming in. The first one, Courtney, I want to send over to you. And the question was, if our client goes with a standalone product at the beginning of the relationship and then graduates to the full ATS solution, will they need to re-implement the standalone, or can it be added to the ATS without having to start over?
To answer that, it's a really good question. Some of the big challenges or concerns clients might have when they implement a standalone is if there's going to be an additional cost or time if they end up putting that component back into a fuller, more robust ATS system. The good news is that we are able to convert any standalone component right into an integrated module in the ATS without any additional cost and without a re-implementation time frame. So that becomes very simple for those clients.
Great, okay. I have another question that's come in here about the Form I-9, and I guess that we mentioned earlier that there was a real risk on the part of some of the clients that are out there, especially in certain industries, for audits by the government and the potential for pretty substantial fines. The question that we have was, how bad can the fines be? Courtney, did you have some data on that?
I do. So there's just a couple of different monetary fines here that I can run through. For improper completion of an employee's I-9 form, the fines can range anywhere from $250 to $3,000 per improper completion. For forms that are retained incorrectly or that are unavailable if there's an audit that comes up, those fines can range from $100 to $1,100 per issue. And then for employers that knowingly hire or continue to employ folks that are not authorized, fines are a bit steeper, ranging from $250 up to $11,000 per violation. So those are just a couple of quick items in terms of different things that could go wrong with an I-9, it not being completed correctly, being unavailable for inspection, or for companies that knowingly hire or continue to employ folks that were unauthorized. Additionally, companies that have a pattern of hiring folks that are not authorized are actually also liable for other criminal penalties, and also including up to $3,000 per employee that they continue to hire or employ, and even prison time could be another repercussion.
Okay. I have another question that's come in that I guess you or I could answer, Courtney, which was from one of our partners who asked, do I have to sell these products or refer them? How does that actually work? Courtney, I'll throw it to you, and then maybe I'll chime in if there's any additional thought I might have.
Sure. So as Kathleen talked about through the presentation, we want you guys to be able to focus on your core business. So once you refer into us, our sales team will take the referral you've identified and really develop them working with you as a partner to make sure your name's in front of them and they understand that you've brought that to us, giving you some credit there in terms of being an HR solutions provider, not just, for example, a background screening company.
Very true. Again, as I think that we have been trying to explain to partners over the course of time, we really do want to respect your core business, your core strengths, and we're happy to take referrals and work collaboratively with you to develop them, but we will certainly deploy our sales team to support that effort. Let's see. Oh, one of the things I did want to add that I quite often hear from partners as the head of marketing for ERC is what kind of marketing literature can we provide to you when you're out in the field, when you're talking with clients, when you're at trade shows and so forth. And I want to just make sure that you all on the call do know that we're happy to provide you and your team with PDF digital versions of some of the ERC literature that we've developed on each of these standalone modules. We can customize these so that your company's logo and your contact information are featured on each of these. And then as part of our co-marketing efforts, we'd encourage you to send these out when you do go on client calls or prospect calls. Bring them along with you if you're going to trade shows and conferences. And at the same time, we can provide you with hyperlinks between your website and our website to your website, which may allow you to feature some of our standalone products as referral possibilities within the web environment that you have for your own company. So we're happy to do that, and I can certainly follow up with anybody after this call who is interested in following up on that opportunity. Okay, I can take one or two more questions. How can I be assured as an ERC partner of getting referral credit? And I guess, Courtney, you can help me to answer this, but I think my simplest answer is that we will always follow up with you by phone or by email when you've sent us a lead via the interface on the ERC website through the contact form. And together we will work with you, as one of the slides mentioned earlier, to map out a strategy that is specific to that company or that client so that we can provide the best possible approach for each of the companies that you may refer to ERC. We want this to be a win-win on both sides. Anything else to add to that, Courtney?
No, I think that covers it, Kathleen.
Great. Okay. We have a few follow-ups. Let me put that up on the screen so you can see what our follow-ups will be. Our next steps are that we will be sharing the digital marketing materials that I just mentioned. We'll be putting this webinar up on a screened background on the web so that you can share this as a file with colleagues or folks that may not have been able to participate today. We also would request that as you move forward and you are having those client and prospect calls that you keep in mind the Contact Us button on the website, on the ERC website. You may want to put it on your favorites list. And that way you can follow the very easy process that I demonstrated just a short time ago in terms of just completing that very simple form in order to provide us with those referral leads that may bring business to both of us. All right, well, I do want to thank those of you who were able to attend today. We will be following up with directions on how you can retrieve the webinar once it's available in the archive. And we will be following up with you, as I mentioned, with some of the further co-marketing materials. Thank you so much to those of you on the line, and we wish you success.